Hi, welcome everyone. We are here in the lovely home of Barbara Poole of Employaid.com. You definitely want to check it out. Thanks for bearing with us while we are here in a blizzard. I don't know if you can, Paul, if you can show them the snow on the deck, but we are here with brave souls who I was saying to the lovely, can I call you the lovely Mike Michalowicz?
I only go by the
the thing that I see in entrepreneurs who succeed are people who are committed to their business, and a snowstorm doesn't stop them. So I am delighted with the people who are here, and for those of you who are not here and are 15 to, how many inches do we have today?
Up to 24 out in
24 inches of snow. It's amazing. So we're really excited, and I will tell you that the one thing that I realized in getting ready for this, when there was a brief moment when we were flying in from LA, was I thought, oh my gosh, there might not be an event, and I thought, if there is an event, I'm going to deliver as much content as I possibly can, and I'm so committed to this being as transformative as possible. So you are going to get the, I said to my husband Paul, who's at the camera, I said, I do really well with an external enemy. If there's something out there like a blizzard, then I'm down. I'm not going to be defeated. So I'm really grateful for the blizzard in my life. So we are going to be doing a couple of really amazing things today. We are going to be talking about the things that specifically I've seen in my own six-figure business and in other six-figure businesses that in the new economy are really working. And it's a lot of stuff that people aren't talking about, a lot of new tools. Mike Michalowicz will be here to talk to you about email marketing in a way that I try my hand at it. It has remarkably changed the interaction and the sales that I get. I'm not even brilliant at it yet. The lovely Sarah Shaw, who Mike and I both know, said to me one day after I sent out an email that wasn't easy, she said, you have got to stop doing that. It was awful. She's like, don't ever do that again. So I was like, okay, I will watch Mike's DVDs and I will do it. So you'll be learning some of those things. And then I already know that besides the blizzard bonus that I'll be emailing all the live people here, that there's just something really juicy that I'm going to give away today that's based on, I was supposed to have you introduce me first, wasn't I? So you know what I'm even going to do? I'm going to introduce Gina Nieves, who's going to introduce me, but you definitely want to go to marknetgroup.com and check out Gina, and then we'll get back and I'll start again. So go Gina!
I was all set to introduce you too.
I'm sorry.
Okay, in 1 year, Lindsay Wilson created a six-figure business and has trailblazed others into doing the same. She soon will be presenting your six-figure business in Los Angeles and will be moderating the upcoming LTD Expo featuring Ali Brown. Lindsay spent 20 years in sales, everywhere from Madison Avenue to being a New York real estate VP. She sold $1 million condo on the phone, that's impressive, convinced Willie Nelson to do an autistic project in 5 minutes, and has been personally responsible for $25 million in sales. Lindsay brought her results-oriented perspective to social media and founded Social Media Heaven, where she has connected 250,000 people. She has taught hundreds of people how to manifest sales through media, social media on web TV. Her students asked her to begin coaching, and now she mentors many six-figure business owners. Lindsay's heart, courage, and sales are her trademarks. She also works with Haiti's Hope Hospital to fund the ongoing need there. She is here today to tell you the truth about how to support your six-figure business in today's economy. Please join me in welcoming Lindsay.
Awesome. I love Gina. Gina recently, we were talking and I said, Gina, I think you should speak in front of people. And the next week we got on the phone and she was speaking at WordCamp New York in front of 500 people. She is somebody who definitely makes it out in a blizzard. So we're going to talk about the three things that definitively are the groundwork and foundation for any big business in this economy. And the first thing that I would say, I go to a lot of live events and I hate when people do the I was homeless and life was awful, but I do think that for people to understand the perspective I come from, as I started to tell people about what my business was like a year ago, it really was powerful to people. So I will say that when and I'll try not to cry. It's so funny, you start to do live events and you do the exact, I'm like, I cannot watch another woman cry about a sad sob story. So here we go. But the truth is that, when I look at December 27th last year, I had started a love coaching business, and I was a genius love coach. Like in 5 sessions, I could manifest people's soulmates. It was really, I'd been trained well, and it was astounding. And it failed. And I can tell you specifically why it failed. There were a number of things that I didn't have in place. I think the main reason was I just could not connect with people who needed it. And I thought, I have all these single friends, this will totally work. And so not only had that business failed, but then I went back to retail and like worked at Tiffany's for the holidays for $14 an hour. It was awful. You know, like I had done all the things that Gina had said before, and I couldn't figure out how to be an entrepreneur. And I had something that could really change people's lives, and I couldn't figure out how to get it delivered to them. I had sold 150% of my goal at Tiffany's during the holiday season, because I do know how to sell, and they didn't keep me. And so it was just like this time last year, right after the holiday, was awful. And what happened is very much like what we're looking at with the weather and being here today. I just was like, I'm sick of this. And specifically, I thought, I want kids, and I do not want kids that grow up in lack. Like, this is not okay with me. Whatever it is that's happening to me right now that I'm manifesting, this has got to change. And so part of the story is not so pretty. Like, it was me often sick to my stomach doing things, and sometimes when I'm at my learning edge, I still am nauseous a little bit. But I got down and dirty with what it was that needed to shift, and it's, you know, my business made over 6 figures in less than 12 months. And I have to say that the best thing, which I'll talk more about later, this is where the voice starts cracking, is that inside of me, inside of all of us, is so much bigger that we could be doing. And so when we're trapped by not being able to be out there and help people, it's not just like the people that we're developing websites for, the people we're helping fall in love, or the people who need social media, but there is a much bigger world, and all of us have much bigger visions of what we can do. And so I think sharing these fundamentals with you all is really important, because then you can go out there and you can do the big life things. And so that's my hope in what we'll deliver today. So the first thing, and then I'm going to bring up Mike, is skills. You need skills and structures. And I think that there are an overwhelming amount of things when you become an entrepreneur that you can look at doing. There are 5 million people that have all sorts of groovy technology about social media, about all sorts of things, and it's really difficult to figure out exactly what to do. So what I see working in this economy are a few different things. Mike is going to talk about email marketing. I mean, how many of us actually are moved to do anything when we get an e-zine and look at clip art? It's like, who is sick of the really long sales pages that actually, you know, it feels like they don't think we're very smart. It feels very formulaic. All of us just scroll to the bottom to look anyway. And there are a number of things that can be done now that really work for people. I think one of the reasons I thought about doing a live event specifically was because in going to a lot of live events, I heard a lot of people who built their business when money was really fluid. And so they can do all sorts of teleseminars or that sort of thing, and it works for them. Their conversion rate of 1 to 4% of, you know, 250,000 people on their list, they don't need to come up with new tools. And so they're teaching old stuff that in this economy actually doesn't seem to work as well. So some of the tools that I enjoy and that I see people doing really well with. First of all, I'm a huge fan of web TV. And as anybody who's been in my classes knows, I'm like, get on the web, do a web show. Because the intimacy that people feel is really the currency of what we're looking at today. Transparency is key. It's very easy also, for those of you who are signed into Ustream, you're going to be learning about what we're doing to you today, and you're also going to learn how to be able to use these tools, but you'll definitely want to go and sign into the chat on the upper right-hand corner. And what you'll find when you run web shows is because there is a group that can talk, you very much get that same kind of thing when you do a live event. You have everybody running to the table at the end of the room. People can turn to their friend who lives across the country and say, are you buying it? Or, I don't like her lipstick. Or, what was she thinking when she got her hair cut? Or, she looks great with that necklace, or whatever it is. And they will say it during a web show. But you get group psychology going, and you get to move masses of people. And so one of the things that also I constantly think about in looking at my business is not like, how can I go find one client? but it's always like, how can you leverage groups? How can you find large groups of people? And so if you can create community, which is another word that is key, you will find that not only will they then often buy from you because they'll be like, that sounds like a great thing she's selling, let's do it, and then everybody else does it. But then they'll get on Facebook, and they'll tell all of their friends, or then you can get on Facebook and say, thanks so much for coming to my web show, and they go, it was the most amazing thing ever, and their 500 to 4,500 friends all see that you've done that, and so you're really able to, in this economy, influence people in a much larger way than if you imagine, I think about in the 80s working on Madison Avenue, and like, I don't even know if we used newspaper ads. We were pretty high end in the place that I was working. But you sat in a store and waited for people to come. It's an entirely new life. Most of you probably are very familiar with my stuff about social media, and if not, feel free to check out socialmediaheaven.com. But people are sitting there. I mean, if you're a nutritionist, this is the time of the year to be on Facebook, because everybody overate. Everybody has a New Year's resolution. I mean, I can sit down at your computer today and find 5 new $1,000 clients for you in the next hour, I bet you. And so can you, is the deal. And we'll be a little bit later today in our bonus giving you actually the exact tools to be able to do that. So you want to think about community. You want to think about transparency. Some other great tools, and I realized one of these I think came from your genius as well. Voicemail marketing is delightful. And here's the other thing that I will tell you. A lot of people are always going to complain about everything, and that's okay. I sent out my 6-figure business report. 80 people on Facebook wanted it alone. One person was like, I don't really like your report because I want more information. And I said in the report, I'd love to provide more information, so let me know what you want. And for a moment I was like, oh gosh. And then I thought, you know what, this is one person out of, if I look at how many people actually looked at this, it actually doesn't matter. So sometimes will people be unhappy that you're trying something new and that you're having them on a voicemail list? Possibly, but if you're asking for phone numbers when you're having people sign up on your website, the expectation is they gave you the number, they'll probably think that you're going to call. Text messaging or mobile marketing is also really genius, because if you look statistically at the actions that people take when they receive a text message versus, I mean, my best friends are entrepreneurs and I don't have time to look at their emails. It comes in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I think I've got to look and see what so-and-so is up to. I never get it up. It just doesn't happen. If you text message me, or if you do something that's intimate or personal, if you send me a handwritten card, I'll like break down in tears. If you call me directly on the phone, that's fabulous. But if you can start to automate these things so that you can reach larger groups of people, and if you're thinking in new ways, and if you're really, here's the other objection I hear people say a lot, but I don't want to seem salesy. So if you get voicemail messaging from anyone I know actually that's using it, they're not like, buy this car now, this car rocks, go out, get this car, 5.9% buy car. That's not what you do. That's not how you, I mean, why would you ever want to do it that way? So if you say to yourself, I don't want to seem salesy, I'm going to bet that either you just don't know how to sell, or it is a cover for just being a little bit afraid to be out in the world. In all of the 20 years of follow-up phone calls that I've done, which are extraordinarily powerful, 50% of your income can be raised just by calling people. You do a web show like this, if I get on the phone and call people and ask what they liked or didn't like, my business will just go up, which is just a proven statistic. I have never had anybody, and I've done probably 30,000 of those calls now, never have I had anyone say, don't call me. If you really call from a place of service, if you call from a place of connecting, sales is all about bonding. Barbara can tell you that. Barbara is a sales genius. But if I call you and I say, how's your dog? How was your holiday? How's the weather? And you say, it sucks. And then I go, oh, I'm so sorry. Should we talk another time? And you go, yeah. Then I might call back and you still might be happy to hear from me. If I call and I go, I've got a car. You need to buy the car. The car's really great. Then of course, like no one wants to hear about that. And that's not what people are buying anyway. If you look at our culture in terms of reality TV, if you look at the things that are popular now, we really, as a culture, crave intimacy. We crave connection. And when anyone is purchasing, what they are purchasing is you and the relationship that you have with them. they're really not purchasing, like this index card. This is one of Gina's favorite examples, but who cares about this index card? If you happen to like me, and if I'm offering some transformation that matters to you and I'm attached to the index card, you'll buy the index card. So those are some of the great new tools, and we'll be, at the end, I'll be talking to you more about ways to get more of them. But before we do that, I'm going to bring up the really exciting Mike Michalowicz to talk about email marketing, because it's everything that I love, and I'm going to give you your proper introduction. But I just have to say that coming from a place of, what I always have said to people, I've trained like 200 salespeople, is that like what people really want is love. That's all they want. And some people it's a kick in the rear end. Some people it's a big hug. And so you have to figure out if you're someone who wants to deliver a kick in the rear end all the time, or if your tribe is someone that wants, you know, they wake up in the morning and they get a voicemail message from you every day that says, just hope you're having a wonderful day. Here's your thought about photography for today, or whatever your business is. So I'm gonna read your lovely intro, and then Mike is going to talk to you about a psychology-based thing. And behind, you know, business is all about psychology. I think that and finding new ways to connect with the people who need you is just brilliant, and I'm psyched to listen to you today. So Mike Michalowicz is an entrepreneur 3 times over. In the past 15 years, he's built 3 multi-million-dollar businesses from the ground up. His first 2 companies were acquired, one privately and one by Fortune 500, and his 3rd one is Obsidian Launch. One thing is for sure, Mike has an undying passion for entrepreneurship. He frequently appears on nationally syndicated television programs on ABC, MSNBC, CNBC, to name just a few. He is the monthly small business columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and he's the author of the wildly popular The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. His latest venture, Obsidian Launch, specializes in behavioral e-marketing. Using behavioral influence strategies blended with online technologies, Mike's firm rapidly grows the top-line sales for his clients throughout the country. In today's presentation, he will show you how to employ a few of these powerful strategies to get your sales growing faster. Do we get to stand up? Please stand up, put your hands together, and join me in welcoming Mike Michalowicz. Totally.
In the last week, has anyone, did anyone do the Black Friday thing? Or did you know someone did Black Friday because you don't want to admit to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people because I live right next door to Best Buy.
Oh, you know the jam, like 5 a.m.
Yeah, the day before.
Do you know Black Friday is purely a behavioral play? It's artificially produced, yet we now, many of us, consider it a tradition. My wife, 5 a.m., out the door with my wallet. And let me tell you how Black Friday came about. Some major retailers, the Nordstroms, the Best Buys, collectively got together about 15 years ago when this started and said, we need to boost sales. I mean, people like to shop anyway. Let's do something. And the concept came up that Nordstrom's was going to hire actors, and they did, to pound the door at 5 a.m. in the morning, and all these people were sitting there pounding on the door. And then they called the news crews and said, hey, look what's going on. And this is my hair just kind of flops down. And then, my toupee. And then we, as consumers, saw that others were doing it and felt it was okay. Actually, more than okay, we copy others. And one of the biggest behavioral cues you can do is emulation. If you can set out a standard, it's called social proof, others will copy it. So we went surging to the stores on Black Friday, and it became now tradition. By the way, tradition is the strongest behavioral cue. Tradition is something in our mind, we say we do it because that's what we do. We do it over and over, regardless of what it costs us or anything. Anything else is irrelevant. But behavioral influence techniques haven't been around just for 15 years. Did you know Santa Claus? If you look at Santa Claus in the 1900s or 1800s, he was way different. Do you know how Santa Claus was manufactured? Do you know who manufactured it in 1931? Anyone have an idea? What company? Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola made the modern Santa Claus in 1931. They couldn't sell to children. Actually, it was prohibited to advertise to children back then on TV or on not TV, it's not 31, posters and on radio. So posters were a big thing. So Coca-Cola said, only if we have something that children love and that person or thing could be drinking our soda. And only if he wore our colors, red and white. So they took Santa, who never wore red and white before 1931, put him red and white, puffed him up a little bit, rosy cheeks, so he smiled, red, and put a Coke in his hand. And we now consider that tradition. That's what Santa is. Santa's manufactured to influence our behavior. Child sales skyrocketed with Coca-Cola when they did that technique. So, one thing when I talk about behavioral influence and how you're going to use it in your business, I'm going to share as much as I can in the time I've allotted. A lot of people say, isn't it manipulation? And it can be if you use it incorrectly. But if you get caught manipulating someone, you get resistance. I mean, you get more resistance. They will trash your company. So behavioral influence done right works inside the already existing behavior of people and just continues it on. Even though we know Santa's, okay, there's manufactured stuff, it's still kind of cool, it's still kind of fun, and we'll let Coke get by without. So, if you do your behavioral influence properly, the way I'm about to show you, you'll be fine. And people actually will enjoy it and want you to do more of it with them. First thing I want to talk about, I have a question for y'all. What is the two most influential words in the English language? And let me just set up. These words are so powerful that Barbara and I, we could be in a direct conversation, and you hear these two words, and you will not listen to me at all. You may look at me, but you won't be listening at all. You'll be listening to what's going on with these two words. Or if you see it in the newspaper, even in today's paper, in this crappy weather, I bet you it'll get you downstairs buying multiple copies of the newspaper. Any other idea what two words these are in the English language? Actually, in any language. It's our own names. It's our own names. There's nothing sweet. If we're talking, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Someone says Barbara, you're like, what? What? You're talking about me? And you're paying attention there. If it was in the newspaper today, if I saw my own name in the newspaper, hell yeah, I will go out and get 50 copies for everyone in this room so you can see how great I am, and call my parents. I'll FedEx one across the country. If it's my name. And if it's your name, it's your name. There's nothing more influential than our own name. So let me share a strategy. We were actually kind of touching on this earlier of how powerful it can be and how you can use it. And we'll talk about email specifically, but I wanted to share some stories first, kind of set the theory of behavioral influence. So I got hired by the Chimney Cleaning Association of America. They exist. They exist, first of all. But they got, talk about problems marketing your company. Yeah, isn't it horrible, right? If you're the Chimney Cleaning Association of America, first of all, your clients don't even know they have a problem. It's inside the chimney, so they don't even care. I mean, how can you get your chimney cleaned unless your neighbor's house burns down? They don't care. Second of all, when they're cleaning your chimney, you're on the roof, so they're providing the service, they're on the roof. And their mascot is Mary fucking Poppins. I mean, they have problems. So it's no surprise, they called Obsidian, this company I have, and told me about their issues. They can't get sales, it's hard to get residual sales, and so forth. So what do? Well, we used the behavioral influence of names. So instead of stuffing mailboxes or sending email even or any of that stuff saying, hey, you should clean your chimney, instead we reached out to the few customers they had in the past and said, we want to hear stories. Not stories about the chimney, but the experience, the benefit you derived from it, which was a great fire. So we wanted to hear maybe romantic times, or we wanted to hear celebrations, or any moments. The Christmas was, just now in Hanukkah. Maybe we want to hear the celebrations you had. And the stories started coming in. And I'll probably stroke up like, I'm sorry to feel it. Because there's one story, it's coming. So the stories came in, the Sweet 16 birthday party, and the big family there, and the celebration there, and these huge Italian dinners and stuff. And there's one story, this is where I go. This young girl wrote in her father passed away from the fire. And when he passed away, the fire was roaring, and a flame, his last breath, and the flame just sparked. And she said, for her at least, that was the moment she knew God existed. Wow, impactful stories. And stories like this is poured in. We got like 60, 70 stories. And what we did was we posted on the Chimney Cleaning Association site of America all the stories and gave people credit. Thank you to Megan and Dave and everyone who contributed for their stories. And just like the newspapers outside, behaviorally, we want to see our own names and we want to tell everyone we know. And that's what happened. The traffic to the website poured in. Other people wanted to share their stories. They wanted to be in the newspaper too, if you will. And people kept on contributing. And to this day, they still contribute their stories. Talk about behavioral influence. We weren't selling a thing. We didn't say buy our shit. None of that stuff. We simply said, here's stories about experiences in front of a fireplace. And people came in. And they connected with the stories. And sales just started going up. So, the first lesson I want you to keep in mind is when you write emails. We're going to talk about the very practical how-to in a little bit. But when you do emails, the most powerful words you can have in there are the person's own name. Or at least make it personal. If you send an email out to people, never again say, "Hi everybody, hello world," because you're not talking to me. Make it very personal. That's the challenge all these newsletters have. It's a blanket. When I receive a newsletter, I know it's not intended for me, it's intended for everybody, so why should I read it? I just care about me. My ego just cares about me, just like your ego just cares about you, really. That's how our egos are. But when it's written and it's very personal to me, even though I know maybe it's tweaked a little bit, it still sounds like it's coming to me, I'm more likely to read it. Another technique is, I call it apples to oranges. It's simply the notion, or the theory, actually more than notion, it's a theory that when things are different than expected, it's when it gets noticed. This literally happened. When I was driving in this morning, there was cars buried and plowed over. And the first car is interesting because you're like, sucker, you got stuck, you know. The second, third car, you feel sorry for people and they just keep on blowing by. One car was on fire. I couldn't believe it. On Route 80 coming in, yeah. It's like, what? In this snowstorm? Like, don't you think the snow is putting this thing out? And the guy was in the car sitting on the phone just talking about it, and there's fire coming out. I was like, dude. Someone was pulling over, so I blew by. But that one got noticed. That one made me pick up the phone and call my wife and say, holy cow, this guy's car's on fire in a blizzard. It's different, so it gets noticed. There was a lot of cars crashed and trashed, but there was one car on fire, which still confounds me. But the fact is, when something's different than expected, that's the only time it gets noticed. Our minds are very efficient at filtering out the usual, the regular stuff. But when something's different, it stands out. So, when it comes, I'm just thinking of email specifically. When it comes to email, the emails we don't read are the ones that everyone else writes. It's the newsletter, it's the e-zine, it's the information. And it's typically the headline of the email will be, January newsletter, Happy New Year, everyone. Here's what's going on, and it's a list of information. My best performing email, the subject line was dog vomit. Right? That was the subject line. Dog vomit. I said, you wouldn't believe this. Hint, dog vomit. Opened like crazy. Why? Because it's unexpected. It's different. So people start reading it. And instead of giving an e-zine, or I'm sorry, I wanted to promote my book. Instead of saying, hey, there's this great book out there, if you haven't read it, it's totally for entrepreneurs, it's awesome, people love it, buy it. I wrote the truth, what happened. We just got a new dog. My wife and I adopted a dog at the pound, an adult dog, who clearly went through some difficult times. And on my bookshelf, we have a similar bookshelf, there's always books, of my competitors' books are all on the bottom. And then there's like 1,000 of my own books here, right? Extra promotion. Well, my dog skipped over my competitor's book, which is called Art of the Start by Michalowicz. It's a phenomenal read, by the way. Grabs my book, chews it up, and vomits it back out. So I write this. So I email out to my community saying, my dog has made the decision on the book you should buy. It's Art of the Start because he loves it. But if you're into, if you want something for your dog to chew on, I got another great book. And my book sales took off. It's just real. It was just real. It was unexpected. In Art of the Start, by Kawasaki, the author called me and wanted to collaborate and do something because he heard about it. It was true. It was a big gift. So, unexpected gets noticed. Another story I wanted to share with you is the story of Zappos. Anyone ever buy anything from Zappos?
I should hold stock.
Okay. You bought shoes from Zappos?
Many.
Oh, good. I hope Zappos in LA. I hope they're watching. Tony's the CEO.
He's definitely.
Yeah, Tony's watching. So, when you bought the shoes, Barbara, do you remember when you bought the shoes? They sent a confirmation saying your shoes are going to be on the way. Do you remember what they promised you? How long it would take to get to you?
Overnight.
They promised overnight.
Free.
Okay. It was delivered overnight?
It's weird. Sometimes you can order at 11 o'clock at night and it'll be at your house at noon the next day.
Right. Do they promise it noon the next day when you order? Do you remember? No. But it's there anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What Zappos does, now they're promising more and more overnight because we couldn't expect it. Zappos uses a technique called under-promise, over-deliver. This is where so many people go wrong. It's over-promise, under-deliver. Oh, I'll promise you the world. I'll do anything for you. I'll deliver it overnight. It'll be there. Everything's perfect. And if you have one problem, you're a loser because you didn't deliver what you promised. But Zappos knows the technique of under-promise, over-deliver. Zappos, when they started out, particularly started out, I mean, 3-4 years ago, they were already underway. But Tony Shea came aboard, and what he said was, set an expectation of delivery 3 to 4 days out, and then we're going to deliver it overnight every time. So when you get the email confirmation saying, thanks for ordering your shoes, this is 2-3 years ago, it would say, congratulations on your order, everything's processed fine, you'll have it in 3 days. And all of a sudden, you'd have it overnight.
Yeah.
And you'd be, oh my God, they're incredible. Oh my God. And what would you do? You go and tell your friends, say, Zappos is incredible, I should own stock in that company.
Now they have this new thing that they make you do, that you have to go vip.zappos.com if you want your shoes overnight. They make it like you're this little...
Yeah, Zappos is definitely changing.
Yeah,
But-
because they got bought by Amazon.
They got bought by Amazon, yeah, and that may be their downfall. But you know, they did $1 billion first in revenue, not too shabby. Not too shabby. They got to $1 billion because of under-promise, over-deliver. Now, think about their competitor. I don't know, Foot Locker. They probably ship stuff online. So Zappos, to get to their size, was promising 3 to 4 day delivery, delivering overnight. Foot Locker, to compete, was over-promising. Oh, we'll get it overnight. Well, you always have it overnight. Because they had to compete with Zappos. It was always overnight. In Foot Locker, 95% of the time was perfect. 95% of the time, it's overnight. And what happens when you get from Foot Locker overnight? You're like, that's what they told me. That's cool. Zappos, though, you're wowed because they promised 3 days. It's here overnight. You're calling your friends. But Foot Locker, 1% of the time, couldn't deliver it overnight because a snowstorm came through or something happened. And then what happens? Foot Locker sucks. They promised overnight. It took 2 days. They can suck it. Right? They've overpromised, underdelivered. So in all your communications, beyond email, it's set expectations that can be consistent. Actually, I own a little small business. If you want to check it out, I own a lot of things on the side. It's a thing called Mint Quality Books. If you're on the internet and you want to check it out, I've been studying this. We sell Mint Quality Books, one book. It's my book, but we do it through the Amazon system. And Amazon automatically, when you order, it's a used book. When you order a used book through Amazon, they'll promise 2-week delivery. We send it the second or third day, every single time. The rave reviews we get. The other thing, too, is we offer a used book, damaged. 95% of the time, we send a brand new one. People are amazed, because they got more than they expected. So in your business, under-promise, over-deliver. It's the habit that everyone breaks. Everyone's over-promised. I got to sell, I got to promise the world. Promise a lot less in the world, and then deliver the world, and customers will spread the word for you. I'm going to do one more behavioral theory, and then we're going to talk a little bit about emails specifically and how you can use it. Anyone fly in the last couple of weeks or a couple of months? Okay. So I did, and I'm flying out in a couple of days. And did you experience this? I get to the airport, I fly Continental because out of New York, it's like, I get there, and I fly all different airplanes because wherever I'm flying is usually the company that's having me out there that pays for my flight. So I go every different airplane. So I don't have any of the passes. And what happened, I was flying Continental, I get there, and then the stewardess or whatever comes up, and she announces, she goes, we're going to start boarding the plane in 5 minutes. Please locate your luggage. Well, what happens at that moment, it's the flesh wall of people just kind of builds around the entranceway. So this is the entranceway. All the people grab their bags and stuff, and everyone's kind of just sitting there blocking the way in. And I'm kind of slow. I get up, I look, I'm like from behind. I'm like, I can barely even see the entranceway to the plane. And the only way through this human wall is anyone traveling with children under the age of 2 may now board the airplane. And the little wall cracks open, and people come in, freaking kids. And you know that one kid with the mustache ain't 2 years old, walking onto the plane, and the curtain closes again. And then it's anyone that has the platinum travel pass, gold, silver, plastic, semi-precious, anything with words in it, just come on board. And it opens and people come on. And then finally, they say, we'll now accept our general boarding people, which of course was me, the last person. And this was just funny because it happened a few weeks ago. I'm like, okay, I can finally board the plane. Everyone else is already on. And I start walking, and the stewardess says, "Oh, sir, sorry. You can't step on the carpet." And then she zip lined it closed and opened this one. She's like, "That's for the privileged." And I had to walk around. I did rub my foot on it. Walk by. But man, as I was getting on that plane, I'm like, God, I should have got a first class ticket. Or you know what? If only I flew this plane more often, I would automatically be upgraded because I'm in the frequent flyers club. Man, did I want to be in there. We all want what we can't have, and that's the behavioral cue. Sense of exclusivity, clubs, memberships, Park, the Park Avenue Club, the UPenn Club, all this stuff. We all want it. We won't admit it, but we know we want it when we start mocking the people that are going on. Oh, I don't want to sit in first class anyway. The champagne, that's so cheesy. It's like, yeah, you want it. That's just a mechanism of denial, of justifying that you don't have it. How effective is it? I know people traveling right now, not because they have to, not because they're going somewhere, but because they want to get the frequent flyer miles, right?
Gotta get their legs.
You got to get your legs. It starts January 1st. By December 31st, you get on a plane. I have a friend flying from Chicago to LA to Dallas to New Jersey, back to Chicago in one day. Well, or whatever, how many hours that takes. Just because he gets the miles. He's like, I'm platinum all year next year if I get it. I'm like, are you kidding? Half the planes right now, people are just flying and stuff. It's incredible. But that's the power of behavioral psychology. We want what is limited in access. We want what's limited in access. So, when you sell stuff, if you say available as much as unlimited quantities available, come now, come whenever, it's always here, you're making it available to everybody, we don't want it. When you say, we have limited quantities only for qualified buyers, we have a small amount only for qualified buyers that have bought enough in the past, only you can have it, people will swarm. People buy other stuff that they don't even want just to get the thing that they're limited from getting. It's the power of exclusivity. You should definitely be doing it. Let me share one more and then I'm going to get to emails. I know we got 10 minutes, I think? 10 minutes?
15.
15, okay. I'm going to share one more behavioral technique and then we'll do it. There was two major, not divorces, but affairs. Two major affairs that went on Thanksgiving last year. Does anyone know who it was? Two major celebrities. You know them both.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Ah, yeah.
Tiger Woods. Now, everyone knows Tiger Woods. Who's the other one? You'll know. I bet you don't even think about it. When you hear a name, like, oh yeah, just as big as Tiger Woods. Anyone? You'll know. David Letterman.
Oh,
That's right, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, David Letterman, right here in New York, right? Had an affair. Oh, within 1 week of each other. Tiger Woods is still getting the headlines of what's going on with him. David Letterman didn't last more than a week. They both used different behavioral techniques, not intentionally, by one of them at least, that changed the way we as consumers responded. And you can do the same thing with your products and services. David Letterman, he's having an affair. What happens that night? He goes on TV and says, I had an affair. He admitted it. He said everything. Here's the gory details. Tiger Woods, he's his affair. I don't even like girls. That was his response, right? And he's, well, maybe, not really. My wife, we play with golf clubs, swinging at cars. That's kind of cool. All this total denial. And we're like, bullshit. Bullshit meter goes off, bullshit. And then what's he do? Well, okay, I was dating one girl who's really 15 and they're all prostitutes. But, and he just denied it. He denied it, right? When there is a sense of secrecy, the word spreads the fastest. You want the word to spread about your business, simply make it secret. Don't let people know. Or only let a few people know. But leave that curiosity out there. It's a behavioral technique. We as human animals, very much driven by curiosity. Very driven by curiosity. And when we know what's going on, we lose our affinity toward it. Happens with your car. Can't wait to get that brand new Mercedes or BMW, right? You drive it out of the lot. Oh, this is awesome. I can't wait. 2 months later, oh, it's the worst. The same car. The curiosity's gone. You found out every bell and whistle. Drive the same way. I want something new. Drive secrecy. Give only little bits and pieces away. And the best technique, only give it to your privileged members. So for the toilet paper entrepreneur, there is maybe 10% of the following that's in a club called the First Million, and they get special access to certain things. Like Gina's in that, and we went to MSNBC together, right? We went to the TV studio together. I don't even tell the rest of my community about it. No one knows that you can come to the TV studios with me if you're in the club. But then, the word starts spreading. if you're in the club, you do what? And the word gets out. It's a secrecy technique. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
That was a
awesome.
lot of fun. We tried to go to Saturday Night Live with the studio.
Yeah,
They
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Was
Yeah,
there.
Paul McCartney was there, so they curtained us out.
Yeah. Paul.
Yeah, we did see a few famous people, but nothing great that day. So now let's talk about email specifically. All right, I'm going to give you the kind of how-to. Now that you know kind of the behavioral psychology. First thing, curiosity. Right? I just said we're all driven by curiosity and secrecy. When you write a headline for an email, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, does it strike curiosity? If it says, this email includes boring details about my life, no one's going to open that, right? Right? Well, you may open it. No. But, you know, like, I don't know, the dog vomit one. Here's one, I wrote one that just said, OMG, I still can't believe this happened. That's all it said. It said, OMG, oh my God. I still can't believe this happened, ... 75% open. Curiosity. Curiosity. Okay. You really want to amp up your headlines, do what's called self-interest. Ego. Like, listen, we forget the brass tacks. You don't care about me. You care about you. I don't care about you. I care about me. That's all. It's all about ourselves. So if I can do something that plays into my ego, like OMG, I can't believe you did this, was my headline. Chances are you know. OMG, I can't believe I did this. What Mike did? He's kind of a loser anyway. But OMG, I can't believe you did this. What did I do? I open it. Curiosity, self-interest. Then, when I write emails, you have to use a technique called linear progression. That's where most people miss it too. Most people write an email and it's this big newsletter format and just blobs of information. Every line in your email has one job, to get the person reading the next line. It's called linear progression. The first sentence, the objective is have them read the second sentence. The second sentence, have them read the third sentence, and so forth. Why? Because we want to build people to what I call the call to action. Every email has to have a call to action. By the way, 95% of the emails out there miss the call to action totally. It's buy my shit. That's not the call to action. But that's what most people do. 5% of the time you should do that, by the way. But 95% of the time you shouldn't be. So, linear progression, the subject line, the whole goal of the subject line is to get the person to open it. But I remember behavioral techniques, if I'm being manipulative, it builds resistance and anger, so it can't be manipulative. So the final part about this, the headline, by the way, has to support what the content really is. So you say, oh my God, I can't believe this, your car's on fire, ... and it says, hey, I'm selling a new product inside. It's got to support it. So then you write linear progression, each sentence builds the next sentence. So each sentence has enough curiosity, it's like, I need to satisfy what this sentence says by reading the next sentence, and continues on. The whole time during the emails, you got to build to the call to action. 80 to 90% of your call to action should be a sense of reciprocity. A given. Now this happened this Christmas to all of us. If you celebrate Christmas or not, you got Christmas cards. And I guarantee you got a Christmas card from someone you didn't expect to get a Christmas card from this year. And you went, oh crap. Because what do you have to do? You got to run to the store, Hallmark there, get a card, and zip one back. Right? Reciprocity. Or if you're smart, because you've been through the loop a few times, you got it stashed away in the drawer, you pull it out, I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is my house. It's kind of offensive. Okay, Merry Christmas. Right? That's called reciprocity. When it's human nature, again, it's another behavioral technique. When you are given something to someone, it's your nature automatically gives back. Actually, society depends upon that. It has to exist. So, in your email communications, always be giving. Don't be giving the obvious. Hey, looking to lose weight? Start exercising. Thanks for hitting me over the head with the obvious. Strike curiosity again, right? Because humans are very driven by curiosity. Do you know, I was just reading this in the weight loss book, do you know the quickest way to lose weight is not through exercise, it's actually through cold exposure. We burn more calories, this is absolutely true. We burn more calories from cold exposure, because our body's a furnace, than we do running. So instead of running a marathon, jump into we're at Central Park over here, go into the little pond and go for a little swim for a few minutes, you'll be like super thin. So it's just interesting. So if I was saying one out about weight loss, and I want to build reciprocity, I would share that tip. Hey, I found this amazing technique. Blah, 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 linear progression. Simply apply a cold pack to the back of your neck, and your body will start heating up and burn calories faster. When someone gets that, they'll say, holy cow, I never thought about that. And who's that guy, Mike? That was nice of him. I should give back to them. The more I invest in my customers and my prospects by sharing this knowledge, the more likely they're to reciprocate by investing in me, buying my products and stuff I have to offer. So, 89% of the time, reciprocity. Giving information, giving tips, sharing stuff about my competitors. You ever see Miracle on 34th Street, that movie? Do you know why Santa Claus was so successful? What he did? Santa Claus works at the Macy's. People are coming in the store. It's the real Santa Claus. And people are coming in and saying, I'm looking for this new toy for my child. And Santa Claus goes, Macy's doesn't have it. Or Bamberger's, when they existed, across the street has it a little bit cheaper. The store managers, they're going crazy. Santa Claus, what are you doing? You're sending people to the competitor? We were fired. Until the next day, when people were stampeding Macy's because Santa Claus was giving the best real information. And Santa Claus can be trusted. And people are buying like crazy from Macy's. So just give until it hurts, and keep giving. And you will build that trust, a strong sense of trust that you deserve. Okay, in the last 5 minutes, I'm going to share now how to get the sales, right? So 80% to 90% of the time, reciprocity, giving. 5 to 10% of the time, you ask. And this is how you do it, at least how I do it. I'll email out, this is all through email, so I'll be building this reciprocity. I'll email out my list and say, hey, I have a new product I'm thinking about doing. If I do this product, would you be interested? When people respond and say, yeah, I'd be interested, I know 50% of those people are going to buy the product. Because when we verbally commit to others to do something, we're likely to do it. That's how Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers, how they work. They get you in a forum, stand together, instead of you saying in your head, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to start exercising, you say to 25 other people, I'm going to lose weight and start exercising, you're now held accountable, you feel accountability. So, first thing you do in your emails, don't say, I'm selling a new product, say, think about doing a new product, if I was to introduce this product, would you buy it? And when they say yes, 50% are going to buy from you. They don't, doesn't matter what the price is, doesn't matter what the product is, the fact that they're giving you direction, committing to something, they're likely to buy from you. It's called predictor influence. Next technique we use in email is in a scarcity play. So I talked about this a little bit earlier. The limited availability of something, just like getting on the airplane, there's only a few people with those special tickets, the more we desire. So, happens too. Nice party here, shrimp bowls out, everyone's sitting there drinking their wine, everyone's eyeing the shrimp bowl at the corner of the eye, full, have a couple. As it starts depleting, watch the next party you have here, where everyone's going to be running to the shrimp bowl when there's like a few left. Except the last one. No one will touch that goddamn last shrimp right in the middle because that's socially inappropriate to make the last one. So always be that one straggling shrimp left. It's called scarcity. The less of something, it gets consumed faster. So for your products, whatever it is, whatever you offer a limited quantity of it and offer it for a limited amount of time, just like the shrimp bowl. I'm introducing a new product. I only have 50 copies available. It'll be available for 2 days. That's it. If they're gone, you know, the quantity's gone, it's gone forever. If the 2 days are up, I'm pulling off the market because I have other things I got to do with my business. People move to it much faster. It's the exact technique used on Black Friday. They use social proof. They use scarcity. They use limited quantity. They use all these different techniques. Black Friday, great prices, great discounts, limited quantities, only one copy, one new outfit, you only get one, you better go now. Blah! And people go running. Do the same thing in email. There must be a sale somewhere, and the fire department's all fired up about it. The next technique, there's 2 other techniques I'll share with you. The sense of loss. We're all driven by a sense of loss. You are more driven to keep your home than you are to acquire the next one. It's more painful to lose the house that you've worked so hard to get than it is to go out and buy the next bigger house. So you're more driven, especially in this economy, you watch people, the clinging on to what we have. We feel we're losing ourselves when we lose material items. You can invoke the same behavioral cue in email. So when I email people and say it's limited and there's almost this time, then I let it go. And the last day I'll email people and say, this is your last day. And I'll put the words in, you are about to lose. Circled, highlightable, you are about to lose access to this. Inevitably my sales, that's the strongest sales period I have. Actually, I get what's called an M spike. I open the doors, I get a flood of people, you've probably experienced this too. It drains very quickly, and then I say you're about to lose, and rah, people go crazy again. So you gotta have a sense of loss. The final thing I want to share with you is when when the time is up, the time better be up. If you say you're going to close the doors and it's no longer available starting Friday at 5 p.m. Or we're stopping Friday at 5 p.m., you better stop then. Because if you don't, you're not authentic, disingenuous, you'll build acceptance. But then, there's one other technique. You build a waiting list. So people will come to my product page to buy whatever I have for sale, and it'll say, sorry, too late, you missed it. But wait, there might be good news. Some people double order, triple order, and it's true. Some people get in such a panic, they order like 10 copies and only meant to get one. Do you want me to put you on my waiting list? Then if I have more become available, I'll make it available to you. And my waiting list fills up, and then in sequence we'll notify people, say, yeah, you know what, we got an extra copy. Maybe I didn't sell out. Have an extra copy. I'll take an extra copy. And boom, 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 they start buying it up. Most times I do sell out. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't. So I build a waiting list. If you did sell out and you have no products left, and it may happen, which is a beautiful thing, that waiting list is built and builds and builds until you replenish your product and go through the whole sequence again. Now you have 20, 50, 500 people chomping at the bit to buy from you. Let me wrap up on this. Never again send out a newsletter. It's commonplace. That's what everyone else is doing. No one wants to get it. Start striking curiosity. Start sending these very concise, linear progression emails and watch the responses. Just by giving, watch the volume of email that come back saying, oh my God, you're awesome. Thank you. I adore you. And you'll be like Santa Claus at Macy's. People start buying from you. Thank you very much. Hasta luego, LA.
Yeah, totally yours.
Go.
Thank you. So when you, I think that this will astound people also, but when you look at your open rates, because I know traditional open rates for people, I mean, we all know what people open our emails at.
Yeah.
What kind of open rates do you get?
Right now I'm sure it's about 40% open rates within the first 2 hours. And then it'll trickle up to maybe 45, 50%.
That's huge.
Huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
But I do what's called split testing, and that's a whole other game. But basically, I'll send out 2 emails in parallel to a small group of people, watch which one's behaving better, which subject line, and then I'll pick the winning one and send out to the rest of the people.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think you're genius. So fabulous having you here today. Wasn't it great? Yeah. So I think it's just, there are plenty of people who've made a lot of money doing things in different ways, but I think that when you're really looking at what you do in terms of your sales, I mean, the thing that I find always works for me, so the litmus test in my business is I go, and if I do this, will I have children that will have financial sanity? And so if I'm afraid to show up for a live event, if I don't want to get in my house in a blizzard, if I don't want to think about what I'm doing with the emails, if you constantly are, even if you just put it in terms of sales numbers, because, I mean, there are a lot of reasons we're all in business, but we also are all in business, hopefully, to have more come in than goes out in abundance. Though there are a lot of people who don't run their businesses that way. If you look at it in that way, it just makes so much sense all the time to consistently be looking at, so here's the goal. The goal is to get to the top of Mount Everest. I don't care how I get there, how do I do it? So split testing and all of those kinds of things just make so much sense, because I think that a lot of times, we could go on for days, but I think a lot of people go into business and just aren't self-reflective. And I think if you're not able to constantly be flexible and looking at what you're doing and seeing where it works and also where it doesn't work, that's when you get into a role that doesn't continue to pan out. So, the second thing that we're going to talk about today is, it was so interesting because as I started to, I have this awesome assistant, Zach, if you're in the chat. He's not actually in the chair, he's on the chat though with everyone.
Nice.
So I have this great assistant who's in his early 20s, who's a guy, and just able to see things that I cannot see. And so as we started to sort of look at what were the things that were successful as I created my business this year, he's really able to be like, well, you did this and this worked really well, or you did this and this didn't work well, or these kinds of things happened. And so it was fascinating for me to really see that one of the best things that I did was get some coaching. And so you can look at this like, okay, so that means I need to hire a coach and do whatever. And I will also tell you, I did not incur business debt with my business. I couldn't for this one. And so I know that, you know, plenty of the people that I worked with that have products, they incur some debt. It's part of the gig. But you need somebody who is able to see your business objectively, be it a Zach, who's a 23-year-old guy who just is able to like have the twinkle in his eye of being an entrepreneur and so excited and really smart, be it any kind of someone who can really see what's going on with you. It's the same thing, like if you're walking down the street and you see somebody from far away and you can barely make their figure out, but you can tell like this is the angriest man in the world. Like I do not want to mess with this person. Maybe I'll even cross the street. Or you can tell like, you know, your best friend. We all, I mean, maybe I'm the only person, I don't know, but don't you know things about the people around you that you might never say to them, but it's true, and everyone around them also knows that it's true, and very few people will actually say to them, you're too trusting of people, or you make a bad first impression, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so I'm a huge fan of being able to get some sort of objective eye on what it is that you're doing. And I'm going to talk about Gina for a second, because Gina has done some genius things with her business this year. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do a little bit of coaching with Gina. But how long, I don't even know, how long have we worked together?
I think it's September.
So that's, oh my gosh. And how much, we looked at the numbers of how much that you brought in since we started.
Yeah, I emailed you.
It was funny to me, I remember it because it was, I was like, it's a six-figure business thing, and I knew I'd done it for myself, but because of the stuff we've done together, you've made an additional 6 figures since September.
Right.
Which was like I was like, thank you. Like, that's like brilliant. That's awesome. But there are things that I can't see in my own business that I go to other people for. And there are skills and things that you've learned by us being together that I think have been really good. So the second thing that I think is just crucial is you've got to have somebody who tells you the truth. I heard somebody once say, you always want to have a friend who's the black sheep of their family, because they're always going to tell you the truth. And I think that's genius. So everybody needs to go hire a black sheep or a coach, somebody who's able to really say, okay, we know that your website in purple is like your favorite color in the world, and it's also ugly. One of the best things that ever happened for me was one of the people who was in my social media class said, your copy is crap. Like, it doesn't sound like anything that comes out of your mouth. Like, it's not you. And it was so funny because of, I mean, I think this is the other piece also, the coaching piece that I would say, because, so she could have said that to me. She actually, God bless her, she did, and you'll notice that my copy has changed a little bit. She was also like, you need a new logo on your site. I need to hire Gina after today so I get a better website. But some of those things never changed. And part of the reason that we don't change also, and I think this is the other component that you need when you find someone who can tell you the truth, is a lot of times we just get caught in our own fear or our own blocks. Like, we've got our own stuff. So I'll be transparent. We built my website, like I built my first website for $7, and it was bright green, and it had a video that was really loud, and it was just horrible. Like, fortunately, no one ever looked at my website to buy from me at the beginning of my business, but it was probably the worst site. And I am one of those people who goes in and like formats and like does crazy fonts and everything. And so the website, even at a certain point, was like, you cannot put any more crazy. Like, it just like went nuts. And so anything that I have that I sort of feel like, well, I could do that on my own, I'm reluctant to then go out and actually get someone else to do. So the piece is, not only do you need somebody who says, you know, your coaching package really isn't what people are looking for, or your product would be awesome, but the way that you gift wrap is really yucky, or the way that you show up in person isn't what your Facebook picture looks like, no one buys it. There's something that's not congruent. You also have to be able to have somebody who walks you through the fear in some way that you can get past those blocks, because you can have all the genius tools. Like, I can, how many events, I have binders full of junk that I've never implemented. I think part of it is because you can only absorb so much live, like your brain can't take all that how in. But I think the other part is, unless you actually change something inside of me, I'm just going to take those binders home and shove them in the shelf. And I really do think, as I started to look around, And it's interesting because the thing about the love coaching that I learned, which I'm really grateful for, is there are ways that you can transform those things. You know, I spent 20 years like looking at every kind of personal growth thing you can think of. And I said to somebody once, it's like, so I've decided I've got the big pink elephant in the living room and I'm just going to decorate him. Like I'm never actually going to get the big pink elephant out. And so fortunately with some of the love coaching stuff, like there's a way to actually go big pink elephant, like go live in somebody else's living room. I'm actually going to have some space and, you know, decorate a little bit differently. So you really want to find places where you can get those shifts made. Because our business is really, you know, they're just a reflection of what we think about ourselves. It's like my soft spots, the spots that are hard for me about my business are absolutely, I mean, and the funny thing is this, like you all know it. You all know all sorts of things about me that I probably don't acknowledge to myself. Same thing with every single one of us. So in order for your business to be successful, what you've got to do, and I think the, you know, when I decided to shift things up, I was nauseous a lot, and it was really painful and gross, and I was able to make some of those shifts. And I think that getting past some of those fears is actually what allowed my business to get bigger. And I've actually learned that when I'm nauseous, it means I'm doing the right thing. I have another client that I coach, and I have to share the story because it actually makes me
Nauseous. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It makes me, no, it actually makes me really happy. She did coaching work with me, and she's got this phenomenal membership site. And she is gorgeous and stunning and has such a great, like you look at her and you're like, I just want to be hugged by her brand. Like it's so enveloping and warm and wonderful. And we spent some time together working on the stuff that was about fear because she had a business that was prior. I didn't learn until after that she'd lost $500,000 on that business. And so we just did some of the work on like moving the fear and changing it. And the thing I would say too is that, I mean, this is what I look for in people that I work with that do transformation with me. I look for stuff that I can learn and that I can repeat it. I don't need them to be magic and then I need them forever to repeat it. I need skills that I can learn so I can go, wow. And I don't want to show up for the live event, so what do I do to change that? So after working together, what was amazing to me is she has all these wonderful things that are happening with her business. She started a sales program, she's got all this PR stuff happening, all these other things. But what was really great is she has this husband who is in a very male business, and he said, you know, I've always thought of you as such a strong woman. And he said, but there's always been some sort of weakness that goes on with you about business, and I've never understood it. And she said, what was most transformative, besides all of the business stuff that's brewing for her, is that she has a 5-year-old son, and he's really smart. And she realized that she was not parenting from a place that was free of fear. Like she said, and this is the thing that stuck out the most to me, she said, what I always thought was my gut impulse was actually my fear. I didn't know that there was some other voice that was inside of me. And so she's now able to parent him in a way. She was like, he'd ask for stuff and I'd just cave all the time. She said, I feel like I'm an adult with my child. And so, like, that's tremendous to me. And I think that in a way, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, like if you're brave enough to be out here on your own and doing all of these things, like I don't find anyone that wants a little life. I don't find anyone that doesn't want to transform their fear. I think that we're all out here to make our business. I think business can actually ultimately sort of be like a spiritual transformation for people. I know for me the best thing that's happened this year is that my clients ask me to, they first of all reflect back reality to me. I thought, I'm going to teach social media, that's all I'm doing. We're talking about Facebook, I'm going to make enough money, I'm done with it. And then people started reflecting back to me things like, you talked about purpose, like, can we talk more about purpose? And I was like, well, sure, we can talk about purpose. And then people would say, like, I now know why I'm alive. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they were like, can you talk more about that? And I was like, I really just want to talk about Twitter. Like, can I not talk about purpose? But then people started asking more and more, and what became great was that I was actually able to interact with them and be those blind spots that I wasn't seeing. And so coaching is key, and finding someone who can be that honest voice in your business is key. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to do a really juicy piece, which I'm just going to tell you a little bit about now. The thing that I thought today was, like, what's the thing that I can offer that's even most valuable? And so after we talk about the third point, what we're going to talk about is the perfect sales conversation. And I'm going to give you all 20 years I've got of it, all 25 million that I've got. I've been able to break it down into really not only a script that works, but a way that works that feels really good. I don't know if it's the moving from New York to LA that's allowed me to really figure out that what's important is completing sales conversations and you don't feel bad. So you don't feel like, because we all have learned, like, and then you say this to them, and then you offer them a bonus, and then you threaten them, or then you push them, and it's like you get off the phone, and even if you've sold it, you sort of feel like throwing up. And so what I'll be doing today is giving you all that exact information. So the third thing in terms of creating a six-figure business that I definitively know that works is this, and that's having a group around you that is doing work on their business as well. I've always known that masterminds are important because you get to, I mean, for me, I don't know if it's the same for you, but being an entrepreneur sometimes felt really lonely to me. When I was doing my love coaching thing, I spent a lot of time feeling like a lot of people were competition. I spent a lot of time feeling like I don't know even who to set up my email program. Like, do I use Constant Contact? Do I use MailChimp? Like, who do I go to? And felt like I really didn't have people to ask. And so joining a mastermind was great because I had company, I had people that I could ask questions. But the one thing that I didn't realize was how referral rich they are. And last week I was just jotting down, and I was like, it would be interesting to see how much I've made in the mastermind I was in. And I've made $33,000 from referrals from the mastermind. And so the unspoken thing I think that happens a lot that you start to see is that people who are really moving in volumes forward in their business are connected. It only makes sense that we're connected with other people. But then I think what happens too is if you're able to be in a community where people are really cheerleading each other rather than competing with each other, really getting their hands on each other's business and helping each other out, that then they become, it's that same thing that Mike said when someone says, yes, I'm interested in that, when they give you their word. Or when I used to do real estate, the moment they were like, the couch will go here, it was like they're sold because they've moved it into their life. So the moment that you're sitting with someone in a mastermind and you're like, I really think you need to do this with your business, I'm really telling you the thing that you're blind about and I really feel strongly about this, then all of a sudden you're like, and I have 5 people who'd love to give you $15,000. And so there is a transformative power to community and to really being involved with other people that, I don't know if it was the same, I don't know if it's the same for other people, but I've found it's helped my business tremendously because I'm no longer alone, because that sense of being alone is just painful. And that sense of feeling like my entire business is on my shoulders and may go down in flames because there's no one, there's like no meeting for my company where I could sit and go, how do I do this? And so I find that masterminds really work. So I think what we'll do is let's take a quick little bathroom break, and then we'll come back and we'll give you all the tools to have the perfect non-sick to your stomach sales conversation. And with the Ustreamers, if you want the information on the perfect sales conversation, you're going to want to email events@socialmediaheaven.com because I'm going to give some bonus stuff to the people who braved the blizzard. But there's food and snacks and all sorts of goodies, and we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back in like 10 minutes if that's good. Yay!